think we're looking good. Okay. Now, hey, Henry, feel free to jump in anytime, okay? Today. Anytime you want to make a comment, if you would like to make a comment or anything, because you know more about his life and everything.
It's your class. I'm a student. Thank you. Anyway.
I just mean feel free. If you feel like you want to put a little 2 cents in there, please do. Okay.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah. See, Henry knows not to interrupt me. No. I look at these paintings and I think, Henry knows so much more about this than I do. I mean, I just know how to paint, you know? I'm just a painter over here. I just love to study every kind of painting and study and copy like crazy. That's how it is, folks. Okay, let's see now. Here we go. We're going to screen share. And you know, I wasn't easy finding a really, I mean, most of them are in Chinese and they're not translated, and it's tough to find one. But I just did the best I could here. So I got this one now. Okay, come on. Get that down there. And so, and travels around the world from Southeast Asia to Europe. Candid moments.
我背后的这组作品是90年代在曼谷的这个游船上拍，他在写生。这个写生对艺术家来讲是非常重要，它是积累素材的一个过程。
Look how immediate and bold. Everything's done in a stroke. You see? I mean, look at these. Look at these strokes. There's no underpainting. There's no nothing. He just goes. I love that kind of work. It's a great way to work. So let's explore more.
认知地方文化，认知大自然啊。我们看吴先生。
Some people call that, by the way, they'll call that automatic drawing, or I've also heard it called finishing as you go. So
那个状态，无论坐在船上还是蹲在那个码头上那种专注。
So when you talk about the most spontaneous kind of work, straight from, you know, the artist sees what they're looking at, it comes into your eyes and right out your wrist onto the canvas. It is the most immediate way. So hence probably the most honest way.
那个状态啊，眼神直逼那个对象。
By the way, I had a great master, Harry Carmian, tell me, always get rid of the work that you don't want the critics to know you for when you're dead, because that'll be the work that you'll be known for. You'll have your best work and it'll be cast aside. And this is why so many artists get rid of their work.
Do you do it?
Sure.
Okay.
All the time.
I read that he destroyed a lot of his paintings, burned them in the Cultural Revolution so that he wouldn't be killed.
Wow.
So most of the things he'd done up to that point were destroyed.
Jeez.
Interesting.
Horrible.
绘画这个事情呢，一直是作为一种传说啊，
Better
的确呢，后来
confirm.
证实了他当时毁了不少画，都掉了，都掉了。我认为呢，就是说一个艺术家敢于毁掉自己的作品，这是一种非常伟大的艺术人格。艺术人格就是他对自己的作品那种苛刻、这个挑剔、批判，敢于审查自己的人才能不断的进步啊！我觉得吴先生的伟大之处就是在这个。这组照片呢也非常有意思，就我背后的这3张照片是90年代拍自印尼巴厘岛。吴先生周围有漂亮的女性啊，背后或者是路过的那种穿着泳装的这种女性，我们会发现吴先生的这个手可能是搭在这个女士的腰上。我觉得人性啊，所以吴先生的这种他的豁达、他的透明啊、他人性啊，这个通过这个细节表达的非常的淋漓尽致。
Anyway, just sort of a candid thing there. And what do we have over here? Was it right here? So I thought this was interesting. Renowned for his landscapes, fused with Western and Oriental art traditions. So this is the thing about him. He's such a fusion of Eastern and Western influences. So, and then he goes to Paris, and he went to my grandpa. My grandpa went to the school. My grandpa went there a lot earlier than he did, though. Like I think my grandpa was there in the late, like 1890s. But yeah, he went to, which is probably, he went right to the school where the most Western of all the academic teachers were there. So he just went right. Here's a man who's completely devoted. He finishes his education in China and comes straight to the belly, like he says, a snake swallowing an elephant. In other words, he feels like this little ant in this gigantic Western world, you know. What's this go? Yeah. So why is he celebrated? In many ways, his life was as interesting as his art. This is interesting.
I
Yeah.
made a mistake. What he burned was his nude paintings, all his nude paintings.
Oh, okay. That's what got him in trouble,
They
huh?
put him in danger. Well, he didn't give them a chance to. Other people he knew were killed, so he burned the nude painting.
Right. Thank you. Wow. That's terrible. Particularly drawn to the work of Pizarro, Cézanne, and Van Gogh. Yeah, I can feel those influences in his work. I can definitely feel the Van Gogh and Cézanne. Yeah. The communist authorities favoring the social realist style that features heroic workers, farmers, and soldiers. Ooh. He found himself out of step artistically with that. In 1966, at the start of the Cultural Revolution, searches home. He was right to be fearful. Is this where it is? Banned for 7 years from painting, denounced as a bourgeois formalist, and banished from Beijing to the remote countryside to perform manual labor. What kind of psychoness is that? So anyway, as the Cultural Revolution eased in the mid-70s, Wu was allowed to return home and paint again. Wow, until the age of 90 in 2010. The landscape of his homeland, these remarkable visions. He galvanized Chinese painting, said, okay, and then often said Wu combined a sense of color and composition from Western. Yeah, you can totally feel the composition. I really see his compositional style being influenced. It's a fusion, but I really see the Western influence in his composition. I'm really drawn to his compositions, by the way. He's one to really look at for composition. I'm definitely going to be spending some time looking at his work for composition. And the more and more I got into his work, the more I'm like, wow, I could really learn from this. And it speaks to me anyway. So as a painter, because I'm often as a plein air painter too, I'm after that immediacy. So by this, I mean his paintings capture the experience more than a sight. There's the sort of things you think you can enter. So, for example, we're immediately confronted with the presence of a bare tree trunk and branches in the foreground. Till we get a glimpse of the white buildings and the red roof tiles. Then the beautiful mountainside vistas in the distance beyond. So in other words, he allows you to enter the painting and then experience the whole thing. I think that's what he's talking about here. Broadly speaking, the naturalism of his early landscapes gave away greater abstraction in the landscapes in his later years. Boasted swirling lines and splashes of color reminiscent of Jackson Pollock. Yes, you can see the Jackson Pollock. He just embraces it all. You can see it all in his work. He doesn't hide it. He exploits it. He shows it all off. There's a wonderful sense of countless different elements making up the whole. You know, in a way, an artist is like a fly on the wall who sits around or absorbing everything and channeling it, you know, in through the eyes and brain and out through the wrist onto the canvas. We're kind of like a camera, but a lot more, because unlike the camera, we push the emotional part as well as the depicting of reality as well. So especially in his peak years, he's regarded as having one of the country's great modernist style or modern styles. Stock is also rising. Oh, great. Oh, wonderful. He became the first living Asian artist to have a solo exhibition at the British Museum. Well, anyway, and then I thought, where is it? I'll just go here. I was looking at, oh, where was I? I think I was on YouTube. Sorry. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here it is. Just take a few minutes and look at these. See how immediate that is? Just strokes, quick, done very quickly. This kind of work is, you'll get the hang of it if you keep trying at it.
Is it ink?
That's, I mean, I would say yes, with splashes of watercolor probably. What do you think, Henry? Sumi ink?
Yeah, this one is ink on rice paper, I believe.
Yeah. Ooh, look at the vertical. See what a composer he is? Done very quickly.
You can really see the Pizarro in this.
Yeah,
This is
that
oil.
last one especially one, huh? Very, very impressionist right there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Pizarro's very much like that.
This
And the
is
one-
oil.
That was oil? Yeah. And this is calligraphy, huh?
Yeah.
Telegraphical
It's
pen work. It doesn't look like a brush.
If we don't have rice paper, what do you think?
Oh, it's
would-
okay.
Okay.
Maybe hot
oil,
press.
yeah.
What do you think? Hot press watercolor paper?
This one is oil painting.
No, I mean, if she doesn't have rice paper, what do you think?
Oh yeah, and any watercolor paper should work in his style,
Yeah, you'll get it.
or hot press. Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe.
Thanks.
Wow, this one's so gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
From the little tiny
Look at the little people.
animals or whatever, and then the big mountains in the back and the colors.
See how the houses and the people give the mountain scale. That's what they talk about, scale. And then look what he does in the background with the lighter bluer gray mountains as they recede, giving depth. That's atmospheric perspective. I mean, he's quite, as you can tell by the lines coming into the lines coming into the piece, he's very aware of perspective, very, very, very aware of perspective. So, okay, let's see now.
This must be a plein air painting in Guilin, a place really exists in China.
Beautiful.
Oh man,
That's a beauty.
the one before. Oh.
This is Sumi. The previous one is yeah, this is Sumi.
Yeah.
This is
Wow.
oil, I think.
So simple. Yeah, you can feel the Western tradition in this Eastern subject. That's a little plein air there. Beautiful. Very, very Cézanne-like right here.
Yeah.
He never washed his brush washer and saved the gray for. He said the best gray is the dirty water from the brush washer. That's
How about that?
Well, I've heard of dirty palette gray, but
the dirty palettes also. Yeah, that's
He doesn't clean his water, huh? He just uses the gray from the water.
right. He think that gray is the best you can ever get.
I think
by
he's right. I kind of do the same thing. I don't clean my palette either.
I know.
You're like, we know, Rob. Maybe you ought to do it once in a while. Ooh, look at the fluid rhythmic line.
ah,
Wow. Abstraction, realism. Whoa. He goes
oh
from
my God. Oh, Oh,
Go back to the one where that vase is so shiny. Oh,
Looks like a,
yes.
like a mayonnaise. So like, yeah. What
Lyrics.
did you want? Oh,
yeah. Gosh, how did he do that?
Yeah.
well, even if you look at it too, this is a scrape right here. He's going back and scraping back into it. He's taking a little bit of blue reflected light off these. See it?
Yeah,
And he's so that just it just tells me he's a extremely capable of doing anything he wants.
yeah.
Yeah, and that is just a beautiful, sweet, simple, elegant painting.
Is this watercolor or oil
Well,
painting?
Oil. And if
I
you
see.
notice, even though there is light and shadow on it, he doesn't
could
really
be-
rely on light and shadow.
It could be watercolor. I'm not sure. It could be gouache, I think.
Hmm.
Gouache has no shyness, huh?
Yeah, because the signature looks like a pencil, maybe not.
Oh yeah.
Not oil. I
Yeah,
think
usually you
oil-
don't do that on an oil.
Ah, I see.
So it's gouache. It's so good you can't
Me.
tell. Okay.
Wow, it makes.
I think gouache maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and anyone will tell you, anyone that paints in gouache, like me, will tell you that's an extraordinary gouache.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Because it's so effortless. And that's
Maybe
what
you
happens
can
when
do
you
a
paint every
gouache.
day, all the time. He's a completely devoted painter. Look at the rhythm in that. Wow. Wow. He just knows no bounds. Ooh, look at the fishies.
This
Good
is
comparison. Action painting. Wow. Light and dark. Again, you notice he doesn't really like in so much of Western art, we rely on light and shadow to describe forms. He relies on light and dark, the juxtaposition of light and dark. See, really no shadow. It's how you put light on dark and dark on light to describe forms and show off forms. Which is actually, most people will tell you in composition, light on dark and dark on light is the way to compose. That's why so many Western painters use notan. Notan is the Japanese form of composing. Is that sumi though? Is notan sumi or is it just Japanese?
Notan is black and white, no
Yeah.
grays. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
they use as a profile study or black and white study for oil or for watercolor, maybe more
Hmm.
than sumi. Sumi is more like a calligraphic with various tones, tonality of the ink, not just black and white.
Right, right. Anyway,
This is more like a sumi kind of. Yeah.
sumi A, does that mean with color or?
Sumi is the Japanese name for ink painting,
Okay.
or ink and water painting. Yeah, but water is involved here. Yeah,
Right.
diluted ink and black ink also.
Okay. Beautiful. You do have some ink here. I didn't think about that.
Oh, my.
Oh my. Look at that color. That is one organic line.
It's abstract.
Yeah. Wow. I like that music too. Gorgeous. I love these gray lines he does. Wow. There's a shift, huh?
This is oil painting.
Back to Western. Back to
Right.
Eastern.
I think the best painting is the Eastern think is the Western, and the Western I think is Eastern these days.
Wow.
For Chinese people, they think he's very westernized,
Hmm.
modern Chinese,
Yeah.
not traditional Chinese painting. This is oil, I think. Oil.
Yeah. Very Suzanne. He's just a very focused painter. Whatever he's doing, he's very focused.
Mhm.
You can see the pictures of him too. He's got an intensity to him.
Yeah.
No question. Okay. And certainly there's a lot more to see than that. But oh, let me off there, onto here. And so let's just, I thought we'd start off with the painting of the trees and tree roots. I love tree roots. I have all kinds of drawings of down here, especially in Eaton Canyon. You can see these oak tree roots that try to grab onto the rocks, and they like when you're down in the riverbed and you look up on the side of the riverbed, you see these rocks all in the side of the riverbed, and you see these roots kind of grabbing onto them. It's great. So how about we do a little, let's do a little, I guess, value study. Let's just do a study. I know, really, right? He does this really immediate thing, and but we're studying here. Okay, got my ink here. Why? I hope I don't spill that ink. That won't be good. And let's see what we got here. I thought I'd just do something like, it's kind of in a square. A bit more of a square than that. So let me zoom in here a little bit.
Is Sumi ink something that you don't use your watercolor brushes for?
Oh no, you sure you can use your watercolor. Do you
Okay.
have Sumi ink?
I do. I've never used it.
Oh.
It's sitting right here.
Huh. Wonderful. Okay, so I mean, you don't have to use ink. You could use a pencil or whatever. I'm just going to lay it in ink, and I'm just going to kind of and I probably should use something darker. I kind of diluted it out here. Okay, so we have one over there. And then, so this is swooping this way. And I love how this one over here kind of swoops back in this way. Out and around, and look how they just all meander. The roots are just, I don't know, they're kind of like, I don't know, they're like, you know, when you're watching waves, and you're at the ocean, you just get lost in them, or reflections or something. Roots are like that too, for me. So anyway, we have this over here. And this over here. I'm a little bit off on my, a little scrunched in my composition there, but okay. And then maybe in the background, use a very lighter line anyway. Couple back in here, right there. Then we have the back of the grasses coming off over there. And there's just, he just sees lines everywhere. At this scale, I probably should have used a really fine pen. But you can get pretty darn fine lines with this big old brush. If I just paint it like that. Signatures. I'm just gonna drag some value in there. This one's white, this one's dark. See, he gives a lot of variation in his shapes. He's extremely tuned into variation. We always say in basic design that the variation is the key to making anything interesting. We need it. Okay, now we have a whole lot of grasses, and I'm not exactly sure how he does it, but it looks like he kind of just dry brushes them in, sort of like that. I'm just using a dry brush, not a whole lot of ink on there or anything. And look at these beautiful, beautiful sort of marks on the tree. Comes back with some lighter ones. And a little bit darker. Beautiful dark lines on there too. I think some really dark ones. Basically full force. I need my, keep this thing open here. I hate dipping my brush into the ink because I can't see how much ink is going on my brush. I'm going to spill it out on this lid here. There we go. There. There's, you can see there's my little lid. Just doing it like that. Really black, really dark. There we go. You got to punch it full force. And he really kind of comes back with some really dark negative areas within. Yeah. Coming back. Any place you might see some line, some really dark line. If you have any water on your brush to get those darks, you might want to just squeeze all the water out of your brush, and then just put ink or any kind of black you have. Black gouache will work really well. If you're just using watercolor, then get it pretty thick on there. See, there's no darks in the back, right? Most of the darks are up in here, up in the front. Again, giving you depth of perspective, And I love these little just chat. You just kind of, these little marks on there. Fantastic. Some of these, more of these around the outside of this will make the tree stand out more. In other words, the darker up against the light. And whoops, that was a little dark. I just wanted to include that dry brushing there, but it's very light on there. Very light on there. Some of these beautiful branches. Breaking up the kind of straightness of the line, of the edge of the grasses as they meet the sky. Or whatever. Really dark here. Just smack those darks as dark as you can. Mine just aren't registering as dark as I'd like them to. I'm sure there's definitely more roots. There's just roots everywhere. I don't want to get this dark enough over here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh. As far as color goes, I mean, do you think we need to do a whole nother one for color? Let's see. 14. All right, we'll do another one. This will get us more into the mode here. Okay, so I'm going to give myself a little more So I better zoom out. A little more width and a little more length. But it is pretty much a square, isn't it? Maybe a little longer than a square. And I would personally just not very dark up here though. That's pretty big. Oh well. It's just going to end up like it ends up. I think the thing to copy here is though is rhythmic flows. I'm still not wide enough. I just do everything too big. Anyway, got a little bit more out there. Still using the black. And he does use different colors of gray. I mean, you can see the brown, like a warm gray in there. He gets some greens in his grays too. So, and then these just smacks of color. Right? These reds and yellows. Okay, so I'm gonna mix for the yellow or for the brown on the ground. I'm gonna mix a, I mean, you could use black in that if you wanted, but I'm going to use yellow ochre. I'm sorry, yellow, a cad yellow. And cad red. Should I got this? Yeah. And a little bit of blue. Let's see what color we are. I want it a little bit bluer than that. I got too warm. Ultramarine blue. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. I'll give it a little test off to the side. Maybe a little bit, first of all, lighter, then maybe a little bit more orange in that. A little more orange in that. If I lighten that up. Getting close, getting close. Let's try that. So that's just red, yellow, and blue. And you just have to gauge it. Look at it. It's dominantly kind of orange. I would call it an orange gray. So when you mix the red, yellow, and blue, mix an orange and then gray it with the blue. That's what I would do. bit darker than this. And just for color here. The blue will gray it. Let's get some shots of like try pure red, the purest red you can possibly get. I mean, would be straight out of the tube. To get some of these really immediate, I mean, shocking colors. I'm just gonna have to, because I can't see them all. I'm going to use, I have it here. Ah, there it is. For that red, I'm going to use Cad Red Light by Holbein because, and now that's pretty orange. That's not bad though. His might be a little redder than that, but his might be just Cad Red, but I don't know. I have a Cad Red here too. Figure out which one would be better. Yeah, I think this one's better. And I just go straight out of the tube. It's a little, he just bounces them around. And you see him in there. Why does he do that? I think he's doing some sort of optical mixing. In other words, to warm up the whole color field of grasses or give it some vibrancy instead of mixing it into the color itself, like we usually do. He just puts down these little dashes and allows your eyes to mix them optically. I may be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. Which is a total impressionist thing to do. I mean, or they started it anyway, and then you get Seurat, who is doing, lots of optical mixing. I'm just, okay. And can you see the little dashes of pure yellow, looking like Cad yellow in there? Maybe Cad yellow light. Try some of that, just. So there's the little lesson, I think, is the optical mixing. If you ever study, look at any color field, just look at the sky. You'll notice if occasionally your eye just kind of gives you a little burst of color once in a while. And you don't know why, and you just think, oh, that's just my eye like reacting to something or whatever, but it's all there. It's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to come in with some subtle little blue grasses he's got in there. I see little pieces of blue back there. I'm just using ultramarine blue. And then I see this green in the trunk too as well. So kind of a blue, gray, green. So the Prussian will work good for that, and you can gray it with the Cad Red. Should work well for that. Maybe a little greener than that. You need a little bit greener, add a little lemon yellow. So that's probably too green. Yeah, so. In within here. And you're right, that could be his dirty water. Now, every painter I know that I like, you know, that sort of thinks like me or whatever, I've talked to them and we agree on a lot of things, loves to work with dirty water and a dirty palette. And there's just commonalities I find with people that with certain style of artist that I know that kind of agree with me on things. Like for instance, it's quite, I've heard so many excellent painters say, yeah, watercolor is easy. What does everybody make such a big deal out of it for? It's the easiest of all the mediums. Why does everybody say it's the hardest? And I'm like, I know, I've always thought the same thing, but it's so nice to hear somebody else say it. I don't know why everybody makes such a big deal out of it.
It's because you have to think backwards.
Well, maybe it's the way you're taught. You know, I have to say that I was, as a child, taught the watercolor way. And probably first. I don't think I was ever even taught, but my mom used to give me sumi brushes and watercolor paper and all kinds of things, and I just go. So but anyway, I just don't understand why it's so. It shouldn't be more difficult. It shouldn't be.
Most people think you can't correct anything,
Right.
but you can. I mean,
Sure you can.
I spend most of my time correcting things,
Yeah.
but that's the myth that everybody knows.
Yeah. There's a lot of myths, and I think once you dispel them, you'll understand that it's really not. It's really not. I think all mediums are about the same, really. And sure, they all have a little bit of problems, and then what I've always done is I'll try a new medium, and like I remember I tried egg tempera when I first tried egg tempera. I didn't like it. It was too sticky. And but you know what I did? I just work with it and I kind of zone. I just get into this sort of I've always been able to just sort of like lose myself, and I'll just work with it and take breaks and work with it and take breaks. And I just come back and come back and come back. And then I develop an understanding of what it's going to do. And go, oh, okay, I know it's really tacky and sticky, so I'll go with it and push it this way, and suddenly I'm doing what I want to do with it. Okay, I think we're pretty good here. So there's some pretty good, just color notes here, that's all. Okay. But that's, you know, and another teacher taught me something a long time ago. He said, if you ever want to learn a medium, doesn't matter what the medium is, do gradations. Sit there, let me see if I have any here. But, you know, just do this. Just sit there and do this with it. It doesn't matter what it is. Just take any color and do gradations from dark to light. From dark, there's glazing, there's dry brush. Just keep doing it from dark to light. Keep doing them over and over and over, and you'll get it. You'll get it. Because one thing about doing this is you're not having to actually paint anything. You're just painting the gradation itself. You're not painting a tree or anything. So you're not having to represent anything. And it relieves you of that stress. So Did someone have a question?
I was going to say leave it up, but
Oh,
um,
did you want to take a picture?
no, I already got it. Thank you.
Oh, okay, sure.
That's an excellent exercise.
Yeah, that's my my basic watercolor class. We do color theory and all kinds of stuff. Okay. Oh, whoops. Get that. Oh, there it is. There it is. Wait, there it is. Yeesh. And yeah. And the funny thing is I was taking him for a pencil rendering class. I mean, in pencil. This is probably, I was 18. Pencil rendering, and he said that to me, and I actually became his apprentice in a way. He was a movie poster illustrator, and I just thought it was great. He had all these movie posters, and he taught here at Art Center, and so he just kind of took me under his wing for about a year, and I studied under him to get into Art Center, and that's one of the things he taught me. Just do gradations, because I was learning airbrush too. Because airbrush illustration back then was big. So I thought, how am I going to learn this tool? And he just said, just do that, and I would just do gradations, and blends and fades, and then boom. It only took about a couple of weeks, really. And there I was doing airbrush. I never thought I never really liked it. It's a little too tedious, but I did like it for some things. Okay. Let's go. So just do now, if you're feeling like maybe a little, let's see, apprehensive, I guess. I don't know. Then just let's make some marks. Like there's a center, and you don't have to be really specific about this. It's okay. But the top of the tree is generally in the center. So, and if you don't want to make pencil marks, you could just go for it. But I think a couple of loose lines might help you. And I wouldn't be, I'm only going to put some just general directional lines, because you're going to want to do a lot of the drawing with the brush. So we have this one. Right, and it comes up, we've got about from there to there, negative area. Yeah. So something like that, and we have another tree over here. And it comes up to about, oh, he can really paint a tree. When you really get into trees, you can see what a master he is. Everything I always say about trees, how every organic thing gets wider at the base and gradually thinner as it goes up, and everything he's got all that. I really like this tree right here that I'm doing. That's nice. And he's got this one over here. Okay. So okay. And now I'm going to start off with just black. And to get a finer line, you don't want too much ink on your brush. Just on the tip. Let's try this one here. thinner line than that too. Really thin line. Must be a big painting. I didn't really check out the size. Oh. I try not to finish every little thing as I go. I'll come back and finish up some of these. But I'm interested in getting gesture and motion, mostly in the beginning. And so then that gives me a nice grouping of what this tree's generally doing. And then I can move on to this. Yeah. I would assume this is a pretty big painting. And back here, maybe use a gray line. Well, I'll do that later. Or just, less black on the line. That way they'll recede. And we have a few on the ground.
This is kind of like line and wash. I mean, if the sumi ink is ends up waterproof, which it seems to,
Mhm.
I'm working differently than we would with typically with watercolor. In other words, we're putting all the black in first. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, are you worried about it? What's the problem?
No, I'm just
You're worried about
realizing,
data. Oh,
this is like, sketching with ink and wash.
sure. Oh, yeah, definitely.
No, that's the general approach. The ink comes always as the host, and
Okay,
the color plays supporting role.
thank you.
Say that again, Henry, sorry. Could
The
you,
ink tells you where to go.
The ink plays as the center or the host and guest relationship. Ink is the host,
I see,
Yeah.
like the host of a party.
Host, H-O-S-T.
right.
Yeah,
No, he
The
said
guest.
ghost. He said ghost. It's the I'm just-
host. Host.
You're
Not
thinking
ghost.
Halloween. Don't anyway, the ink is in control.
Right,
Yeah, ink is the color is supporting. Yeah, it's like
It's the tour guide.
ice on
Yeah.
cake. What do you
Yeah.
say?
Great, nice way of putting it. Ink is the host.
It's the tour guide. It tells you which direction to go. You might want to check this out. You might want to check that out. Come on over here. All right, we got all this wonderful little branches and roots on the ground. Things overlapping.
Do we know what kind of trees these are? Are these typical Chinese trees that have all these superficial roots on the ground?
Ooh.
Maybe Henry knows.
Yeah, I think he frequently go to southeast to the tropical areas.
Mm.
And this kind of tree I see in the botanical garden in San Diego Art Museum around, the big giant tree.
Ooh.
I don't know what's the name.
Is it a banyan tree?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a more like a Moreton Bay fig or
Oh.
banyan.
And they have a Morton Bay fig at the South Pasadena Library.
That's right.
The roots is like that, but from the bark, I cannot really tell. It could be any cypress or kind of old.
It's very organic, very, very organic.
This branch, the center tree, look like could be a sycamore, because we have lots of.
Ooh, I love sycamores. Aren't they the best? We got them right here too. They're so organic. It would be so great just to spend a day with Henry doing this all day with sycamores.
Yeah,
That would be a great day.
the one on the right looks like the cypress kind of bark.
Yeah.
There's only a few trees identifiable in Chinese traditional landscape, which are pine trees, cypress trees, willow trees, maybe tong is a kind of large leaf tong oil. Those tree the sap makes the lacquer. I think other than those, they are grouply named as other trees. A variety or various trees. Yeah, that's the we just don't keep track on them anymore. Other than those bamboo, another one maybe, or banana tree, or palm tree that's identifiable. Other than that, we call other trees. There's a
Other trees.
volume in the painting manual. It's called other trees, and there will be a dedicated volume for how to paint pine trees, how to paint willow trees, and then there's a volume on all other trees.
Yeah.
But when it comes to leaves, there are different patterns of doing like triangular or circular, patterns. We call this in modern term would be fractal elements. Yeah. I think the Chinese invented the fractal design concept.
Yeah.
So you don't record pixel by pixel, you do it with the fractal pattern elements. It can grow. You can build a natural organic tree with just a few pixels.
Wow.
With the special fractal formula or organic mass. I don't know how to describe it mathematically, but the rule of thumb is never repeat, no symmetrical. If you look at the natural, right, there's no symmetrical, nothing the same. If you just toss a group of some leaves in the air and they will form a nice pattern. That's how the fractal pattern is calculated in a computer, I think. So there's some I think some Chinese some computer scientists find fractal elements and rules in Jackson Pollock's painting
Oh,
as well. Yeah. So they consider the Jackson Pollock's driven painting is also kind of fractal design.
I think so. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm only using about maybe 20% ink and mostly water, but very dry brush here. And then this is why I can go like this
I think
all day
I'll
long.
just add one quote from Jackson Pollock.
Yeah.
When he said if he paint from nature, inspired by nature, or paint from natural landscape or anything in nature, he said, "I am the nature."
I am the nature.
I'm nature. I'm nature. Yeah.
We are natural. I mean, I don't know why we separate ourselves from nature.
I think the human creations, like ancient masters, the masters were learning, they are second land natures, because we are part of nature, right? So when they integrate with nature, they are second nature. They are, yeah. So they at least they're the spokesman of nature. That's
a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Ambassadors of nature.
Right. Ambassadors of nature.
I think it's the biggest difference between the Westerners and Asians. We are part of the nature.
Yeah.
But Westerners, sometimes they think it's something to conquer.
Yeah, that's what we used to study in my class.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we always have to live together.
Yeah.
Even if it's
right, you have to take care of it.
It's difficult time. So it's I think it's mostly the Japanese wise, it's always a part of the nature we are.
Right.
So when we look at the nature, it's different. It's not something that you face. It's something that within.
Because it's a part of you. You're a part of it.
It's like looking at yourself.
Right. Exactly. That's introspective. You find
introspective. Yeah.
Nature. You have to in tune with nature.
Yeah.
You train yourself to develop the spontaneity of nature. So you have to calculate it. So the spontaneity is trained by doing something like copy, just like a tea ceremony. You have to learn all the gestures, the special ways of doing things, right? Then eventually become part of your nature. So you do it naturally. That's the process. So that's why we need to copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took Chinese painting. It's all I did was just copy, and it's very good to copy. Then you find it's the essence of the master, what he's thinking and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it must be that way in all cultures. I mean, I think all cultures pretty much train that way, especially in older.
In music, especially.
Yeah, music too, definitely. That's exactly what I used to do. I remember in music, and when I used to play guitar, I didn't know what I liked. I didn't even know. I didn't even have a clue what I liked. All my friends would be like, what do you like? And I'm going, I don't really know. And of course you don't say that. What? I mean, I would just copy anything that was interesting to me. And I, okay, I like that. I developed, you know, but oftentimes it was just some obscure like artist who I never even heard of. I was just like, ooh, nice bass line. Same in painting. I still don't even know exactly who I hear. Who's your favorite artist? I'm like, that's a hard question. Do we have to have a favorite artist?
No.
You know what I can't
That's-
stand is who's the
That's
best
good
artist?
answer.
You know, who's the best artist? That one kills me right there. I'm like, who's the best artist? Really? I don't know. I mean, don't you think people have different opinions? Who's the best? We do that a lot here, especially in pop art. Anything to do with popular culture. Who's the best? Who's the best? You mean who's the most marketed? I remember I was walking down the 3rd Street promenade down there in Santa Monica one day. And this guy comes out with a classical guitar and an amplifier and just starts playing. And I was listening to him. No, I'm sorry, it was a blues guitar, excuse me. And he starts playing and I was watching him, right? And he's not only playing the music and singing, but he's also tapping on the guitar as a percussion instrument and tapping something with his foot, getting a little bass and pop, tap, and he's getting all this rhythm. I'm going, you're a one-man band. I was mesmerized. I was sitting there watching him going, you know, I don't know how long I'd have to play to learn how what you're doing. That's incredible. I was absolutely blown out of my mind. I bought his CDs and wore them out. Amazing. Okay. Lots of incredible people everywhere. I'm gonna throw in some of these little grasses now, just kind of dry brush. They're kind of a blue-green grasses. Just and two little dashes of it back here. All over. See all these. Got a little bit in here. On here. And really strong blue greens in here. He just drips them on there. It looks like, wow. See a little strong. I think maybe he does those at the end. I'll just let myself know if I feel them. Okay. I'm gonna hit me some dark marks. Really nice. I want to put that fat one right there. Let's start with that one right there. Here are interesting marks too. This one, like here, is just. I think he really pays attention to the outside edges of those marks. Looks a little big on that one. And I'm loading up, really loading up with a lot of ink when I do these darks. These want to be nice and dark. And for some of these dark lines too, they're very dark as well. And for some of these little marks that I did over here, I put them on very dry to get all the ink off your brush, get some, so there's no water in it. And just maybe something like that. For some of these little dry brush texture marks that he's doing. He's got some really nice little lighter ones in there too. Yeah. A couple of those in here. Again, some really dark ones in here. And they are really dark. Well, okay, now let's see. I'm going to go for some of this brownish, grassy texture on the ground. I'm going to make myself up a big batch of cad yellow, cad red, so an orange. Get some water here. And probably not that orange, and give myself a little color sample. Now I need to thin it out. How's that? Getting pretty close. A little more yellow. How's that? I want to thin that out. Is it that orange? It's pretty. That looks a little saturated, so I'm going to desaturate it with a little bit of blue. Just get it pretty close to where you like it. And then I'm going to handle this pretty dry, spreading the bristles. Looks like it could be yellower. Okay. Mhm. I'm probably gonna have to go over those. Yeah, he's a little more definite than I am. I think I need to go a little stronger with these. They're gonna dry a lot lighter. Because otherwise I'm gonna have to. You can see right in between a lot of his strokes, he's got white, which means he just boom, nailed it and moved on. So I'm sure he went over some of them, but well,
Rob, how did you get
Yeah.
that gray green again, the blue gray green? Prussian
I
blue?
mixed Prussian blue and lemon yellow,
Uh-huh.
and then I had a little bit of cad red to gray it.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I like to pour it out. And then I can feel how much is on my brush. When I dip it into a jar, it's just too hard to judge how much is on there. Okay, then for some of these fine lines, let's see, we've got like this one. I see some of that brown up in the trees too. Maybe a little bit more. Some in here. I just come in with some of those little spots. First one hit a few lines. Got a whole bunch of little lines that I just didn't even see. Just little exploratory lines, just experience lines. They just take you around and got them everywhere. That's such an intuitive way to paint, and it's my favorite. I just feel my way into situations, and I don't like foregoes the analytical process, and you just sort of like it's almost like painting blind or something. You just sort of feel your way around and no, yes, yes, no, maybe a little bit of here, a little bit of this, and there it is. More. Now I'm gonna, yeah, let's hit some more of these light spots. Very nice. There's some greens in there too. Green, blue, green. Some of that in here. Right down here. Those greens are really great. He gets a couple of them really powerful. Remember, I could see a few down in here. Like turquoise or something. Um, Reds and yellows. Where's this one?
Okay, I don't have to have a favorite painter, but for today, this is my favorite painter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's a good, if we could do that all the time with all these painters, it just what you do is you just give your mind, give yourself to the lesson and what the painter has. This is why we paint. I mean, to teach with their paintings is the ultimate, because even after you're gone, you're still teaching people, which is the ultimate compliment. And you learn.
I attend a
That's
Zoom
the way.
meeting of a few artists from Ventura, and I'm going to bring that video and show them. I'm sure they haven't heard of him.
Yeah, I say I like that art, the watercolorist. He's amazing. I forgot his name, but I could see his paintings in my head, and he did all those huge paintings. Like he only worked like it seemed like he only worked like 22 by 30, big old. And I think I saw a video on him too, right? Yeah, really. That was a while back. Let's see. Now, yellow, cadmium yellow. Where are you? Yeah, just bringing your eye, exciting your eye a little bit. I would think of this like spice. Just a little bit of tang, a little bit of sweet, a little round flavor here. Here I am getting hungry again. This painter's making me hungry. It must be good. Darker gray marks in here. A little darker. Too dark. Okay. Edges. Just dry brush. See.
This reminds me at the of the end of the architectural exams, and what I don't know what they do now because they're doing it on computers, but there used to be this just tap, 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 as people stippled.
Oh, you mean the sound?
Yeah, they take their pencils and they tap, 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 tap all on their drawings.
Huh.
Because it's the same sort of thing.
It's like the scientific illustration. I learned it from archaeology class to do the shading with lots of dots.
Yeah. I just remember at some point when I was at Art Center, thinking to myself, you know, it was really silent and everybody was painting, and I could hear the sound of everybody's brushes on the canvas.
Oh,
And I was thinking to myself, that's like one of my favorite sounds. I think that's maybe my favorite sound. Something about the classroom too. I love being in the classroom as everybody's learning. It just rubs off on you. That's why I say to some people who haven't been painting a while, it's good to be around other painters. I don't care if you're on Zoom or not, you pick up on it. It rubs off. All the critiques and all of this, it rubs off. Like, for instance, seeing that an artist don't sweat it over, like an experienced artist doesn't sweat it over certain areas, whereas a more amateurish artist would really get lost in an area that's more just kind of arbitrary, not really going to make the painting or break the painting. And little lessons like that, you see, wow, oh, gosh, okay. One thing I remember I'd watch these just amazing artists draw, and one thing I couldn't believe is how they would spend so much time on the understructure, and they really didn't give that much attention to what they ended up with. It was all about the building process, not the final thing. And I thought, wow, what's that all about?
Hey, Rob, how did you get the brown again? Because I'm just starting that.
Yeah, it's a red, yellow, and blue. So make an orange out of red and yellow. 'Cause
Okay,
it's kind of a brown, right? So red and
Yeah.
yellow,
yeah,
and then keep adding blue until that gets it gray enough.
okay.
Yeah,
Red, yellow, blue.
yeah, this is,
Thank-
uh-huh. Whoops. Yeah, he just drips these big, really, or just dashes these really potent. I keep seeing little blues everywhere. When you get up into it, there's a little bit more than you think. Even these little white. Show off these blues. At this scale, you don't see too much, but I can hear him speaking to me. He's telling me, put them wherever you think they should be, wherever, copy the painting, that's fine, but don't be too specific. In other words, if you need to wake up an area, hit it with a little bit of color. That's what he's telling me. And I am aware that I sound funny, so that's fine. Maybe not in a funny way either, maybe more in a crazy way. I'm funny crazy. I'll buy that. I'll own that one. I don't know about crazy. Unfortunately, I called someone crazy in my class the other day, and I hope I didn't offend anyone. Oh, well. I didn't call someone in my class crazy though. I didn't say you're crazy. No, I used to teach Amanda Bynes, that actress. I don't know if you know who she is, but anyway, and then and she was really out there in my class, but whoa, was she good. I just tell her, I just sort of point her in a direction and boom, boom, boom. Mastered it, mastered everything I taught her instantly. One of those types, another one. Yeah, these talents I ran into, they were real. They were real. Anyway, but then my daughter showed me what happened. I mean, later on, I guess she had been either, I mean, I don't know if you know, but like Hollywood took its toll on her. And so someone, I don't know where it came up, but someone said, oh yeah, I know where it came up. They said, what celebrities do you teach? Because one of the ladies is married to someone who played on a show. And I don't know how it came up, but I don't know. I just, yeah, I taught all these people over at the Brentwood Art Center. And it was a good experience, really, but it was just, and then the thing is that I don't know whether like they come out crazy online because they're trying to do like a PR thing, or whether they really are, I don't know. Anyway, I just said. Okay. Darker. Okay. What time is it? We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. You guys need more time? What do you think? Do you guys need more time? Or do you want to start turning them in? What do you
Well, I
think?
do, but I always do. So
Yeah, I do.
I do.
I'll have to do mine unfinished, but that's okay.
Do you take this painting to be your lawfully? No. Did you say I do? I do.
there are like 3 or 4 browns in this. It's quite, there's
Yeah,
quite
there's a lot of color on this piece. It's fun. Okay, how about I give you 10 minutes? How about 11? It's 11:30. How about I give you 11:40? A
any
little
better
line.
time. That's great.
Okay.
Rob, when
Hello.
when you're using red, yellow, and blue, how do you know when it's going to make a brown and other times it's going to make a gray?
So I just take my yellow. It's kind of hard right now. I'm gonna break that thing down. Okay, there's my yellow, my red, and I make an orange. Okay, and then I add it's 2 orange, so I want to gray it. So I add something in the blue family. I could add any one of these, actually will work, but let's just try some ultramarine blue here and add that. And so how do I know how much? I keep testing and testing and testing. And that's getting a little bit on the green side, so I want to add a little more red. Red is the opposite of green. So then keep adding blue. And somewhere in that area.
Okay, and then how come it comes out gray sometimes? Or how do you make a gray so that it's different than a brown?
Well, if I keep adding blue to it, there's going to be a cooler gray. Okay, so now I'm in this family,
Oh, okay.
and
All
then
right.
you know, yeah. So you got your red, your yellow, and your blue. If you keep going toward the blues, I'll just get more blue and more blue, etc. They'll still have the commonality of all these colors combined,
Uh-huh.
but you know, like there's just a redder version of this whole thing right there. See?
I can't see. You went up too high.
I'm sorry.
You're holding the paint too high. Okay.
I'm sorry. There's the redder version, and then I'll test it out right here, and you know, it wouldn't surprise me if they're all in there. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, I have to say, probably 70% of my colors I do that way.
Uh-huh.
Red, yellow, and blue, red, yellow, and blue. One of my favorite sayings, and I say it all the time, but I know you've heard me say this, I'll say it again. Every color has red, yellow, and blue in it, even red, yellow, and blue. We just don't think, how could you have yellow and blue in red? But you do. You do. It's weird. All colors have red, yellow, and blue in them. You start realizing that, wow, it opens up your world to color. And you stop mixing green. Like you stop mixing green and red, and you start mixing red, yellow, and blue, because green and red is just yellow and blue, right? I know, it's weird. After a while, just almost, if you just have red, yellow, and blue, you can make probably 90% of all paintings. Yeah, there are, you know, we don't have our opera in that, you know, and there's no quinacridone yellow, but you can still make really remarkable paintings with just the red, yellow, and blue. It's nice to have those special colors, though. That is one blue sky today. Okay, so 6 minutes. Stretch out my bones. I'm going to the San Marino Library today, and I'm going to check out George's painting and whoever else. I got a big note right here. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll just start here then. And there you go. Oh, I'd say very nice. Now you used a pen, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes when you're working this small, it's hard to get the really fine lines with a big brush. Sometimes it's a good idea to use a pen.
It was easier with a pen.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, you got some nice directional lines. You can feel the rhythm in this and the overlapping. See, I like how you're taking, let's see here, let me get my little. So I like how you're taking, like, for instance, this line in front and these lines in the back, overlapping roots, and then you bring it back into here. Very nice. A lot of overlapping, like in here, that's good. So, and you got the pure colors as well as the grays and the blacks. So I'm pretty good with this. Well, any problems you're having or questions or?
No, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I really like his work. Thank you.
good. Okay, thank you, Lily.
Thank you.
Come on, you're welcome.
Yes, hi.
Hi, beautiful. Yeah, really sweeping, flowing lines. Good. That's being at one with nature. And yeah, using some dry brush, little wet marks, almost wet into wet in here. Love it. What, any questions you're having or any thoughts?
I just use regular watercolors and brushes
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed it. I love this artist. So thank you so much for introducing it. I
Yeah.
think I'd like to try more of his paintings. It's really meditative.
Exactly. That's one thing I really got. I noticed the class really got zenned out on us today. Everybody just went into the zone for about the last half hour, which is great.
Yes, it was wonderful. Thank you.
I can feel the zone in here. Okay, good. All right. Thank you, Maria. Oh, lovely. Lovely, lovely.
Thank you.
Very natural. Yeah, I haven't seen you do line too much in the past. But nice looking lines. I like your sort of lost and found line.
Yeah, I found what he did is fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good lesson. Thank you, Henry, for telling us about this
Yeah.
artist. Yeah, wonderful. I mean, again, any questions you're having? These roots are just great down here. I like how you actually just more like tonal instead of like all the little brushy dabs that he used. The way you're doing it really makes the roots stand out. You know?
At first, the ground it was so messy, and so I kind of like fix it with another layer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. Well, any questions you're having? This tree right here is just masterful, by the way. I mean, all your trees are gorgeous. Geesh, that's
Thank you.
beautiful. All right then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful one to keep in the. All right, Suzanne. Well, what do you think? It's quite nice. You got away with rhythm. You got a lot of rhythm going on in these. That's something you just get after doing lots and lots of nature. What do you think, Suzanne?
Well, I love doing it. You just do get lost.
Yeah.
Little frustrated with how thick my brush is. I wanted thinner lines.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the only
Maybe.
thing that bugged me.
Mine, I had the same issue. Yeah, I guess maybe using a finer brush. I do have finer brushes too. I don't know why I didn't use them. Henry's probably going, yeah, Rob, I gave you all those brushes. You got about 20 of them. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do have a whole bunch of brushes behind me. Why didn't I use them?
This line looks great.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I think you have, I don't think there's a big problem here at all with your line. I wouldn't have even mentioned it. maybe some of your dark browns could be a little darker.
Great.
Yes, yeah, they should be. You're right.
I mean, just to pop things a little bit more maybe.
Mhm.
But I love this pattern right here you got on this tree. This is great.
Yeah, I think she really got the fluency of the flow.
Yeah. You know, when you have this many eyes on a tree and they're all looking at you, you're doing something right.
Very
Or you
nice.
have to be careful. Everybody's watching. It was very fun,
Yeah.
very relaxing.
Well, good.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks.
Suzanne. Blurry ones. It's okay. I think maybe Cindy, you need more
Yes.
light.
Okay,
Yeah, maybe do them outside or get them by a window or something with more light. It's mostly,
I could just
and I'll-
turn on more light.
yeah.
Want me to
or,
send it again with more light?
Sure. Would you like to do that? Yeah, that'd be fine with me.
No, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I'm fine with this.
You
That's
can be
how I
fine
see
with
the
it.
world without my glasses. That's how I see everything.
Well,
Yeah, I like the blurriness in the foreground and it's focused.
Yeah, it doesn't bug me at all. I mean, your line, that is a gorgeous line you have there. Beautiful, thick to thin, flowing rhythm. I love how you just let it go right here and just very fine over here. Yeah, that is gorgeous. I think you really got it. I think you're real.
like the
I think you've
tight-
had this for a long time.
I like the tight and loose contrast.
Yeah. By punching some of these edges and these darks, you really get some pop out of it. Really nice contrast. And you've done some sumi painting too, right?
yes, I have.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
for like
special.
years.
No wonder.
It shows. Beautiful. Any questions or comments or any?
Oh, I enjoyed it. This was a great day.
Yeah, it was.
I like
We
the
seem to-
twist of the trunk, by the way.
Yeah,
In the background, the trees.
this one.
Yeah, that one.
That is really rhythmic, isn't it? Rhythmic. Rhythmatic delicious is what it is. Okay. Thank you, Cindy. Nice work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow, this one really pops. Wow.
This so bright. Wow.
Yeah, the whites really pop out of this.
It's on Stillman and Byrne Zeta paper, so it's like hot press.
Uh-huh.
And I finally, which typically I hate, but now I found a reason to use it, the Fude fountain pen with permanent black ink.
Yeah. You like it?
I do now. I typically don't like it because I don't like the way it scratches the paper, but that pen on this smooth paper was a fun exercise. I still feel really uneasy with it, but I want to use more. I want to combine more of those, work with the two of them more, because I think that might be something that fits my, what I like to do.
I like these just marks, these stroke marks right here, just boom, along with these blotches. You got marks and blotches and sort of wash. You get a lot of variety going here.
Well, it was, it's the case with all of these. When you get into it, it's like, wow, that's there too.
Yeah.
And putting the color, I wish I had taken a photograph before I put the red and the yellow dots in, because it just brought it alive.
I wonder if you, after you take a photo, if you get the photo and then desaturate it, I wonder what that,
That's a great idea. Yeah.
you won't see the browns, but you'll, but anyway, yeah. You'll get a sense of, that would be a great thing for everybody. Just, with your photo, maybe at some point, look at it without any color in it. Just purely composition, really, it'll do something probably.
Well, the tree's too fat in this one, but the front tree. Oh, and that's the other thing I learned, because I have a hard time. I get really lost when I'm doing trees. Which
Yeah.
branch comes before which kind of problem. So I think in the future, I would start with the big roots that are in front of the others.
Okay, yeah, big things first,
Yeah.
work your way down to smaller things. It usually works best. Yeah.
But the overlapping is, you can see down on the lower right, I lost it and I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap
Oh.
this root over, but
Well, that's okay.
yeah.
We'll forgive you. Just don't let it happen again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, it was so fun. I
I wouldn't be adverse to you actually just taking a little bit of white,
Oh, sure.
I
White
did
out.
mine. Just if you wanted to,
Yeah.
or whatever. So, yeah, anything like that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sargent did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a
fun.
beauty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe.
Yeah.
All right. So slowly feeling your way into it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. No, he's
As
beautiful.
usual, and that's
He
just
has
fine.
beautiful work. He's just amazing. So it's neat to, I love seeing what everybody else is doing too.
Yeah. Obviously, it's just good to see all those different influences. I love your dry brushing back here and your fluid line. You can come back at any point, like you see, you're starting to break in some dark line.
Yeah.
Yeah, at any point, just, and what I'd like to do is maybe on a different piece of paper, practice some lines. Look at some of the lines you'll want to do and just practice a few of them. Practice a few.
Before you put them on the,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it'll give
good
you
idea.
more confidence when you go into that final line.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Beautiful. Nice land. I think this is the second one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now, Mr. Colorful. All right, beautiful. Fun. Looks like you're really coming. You're really loving that pen lately. That white pen, huh?
I just got it over the weekend, so I'm going crazy with it a little bit.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That is what you do. You're supposed to go crazy with it. You're supposed to just live it for a while.
Which pen is it?
It's I have it right here. Actually, it is a Uniball Signo Broad, but it's a white, like a gel pen.
Right.
White gel. Okay.
Yeah, it just says white. It doesn't say gel, but it's a Uniball Signo, Signo, Signo Broad.
Okay. Yeah, because I like a white pen that's very opaque. I have a white pen here, but it's just not. I mean, it's made by it's this Faber-Castell one, but it just doesn't work very well for me. I mean, it just doesn't cover.
Right. It doesn't quite have the punch and this one's got a nice lot. It's opaque, like you say, coming right out. But
well, that's fun. Now, so learning the lessons that he's teaching you and learning a new technique at the same time, that's enough to make your brain explode a little bit.
you know what? It's too late. My brain has exploded.
Well, good.
But no, this is I love this style and this artist. So I totally vote for doing some more of this kind of stuff.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Mitsuko had a Japanese artist she suggested, and I was
Mhm.
checking out his work, and it's pretty darn nice. So I forgot his name. What's it again? Mitsuko, I have it written down here. Starts with an F. She's not there.
Rob, it's
Yeah.
Fujita.
Yeah. There it is. How do you spell that again?
Foujita.
Okay.
Actually, you know, in Japanese, Fujita, but he spells like French way. That's why Fu is Foujita. That's how he is known.
Now, can you say it in Japanese?
Fujita.
Fujita.
Fujita. Fujita Tsuguharu. Tsuguharu.
I love that language.
Can you write it in the chat?
Sure.
Thank you.
Fujita. Okay. Yeah, cool. I like how you you know, the thing I like about you, John, is that you don't hold back. You go for it. That's what's always going to be your strength. You know, that's the attitude that's always going to make you a great learner. Is that, and then you're brave enough to not be like intimidated by that or anything. You just go for it. It doesn't matter how it comes out. It's the journey, you know, and you learn so much more and much faster that way than being more apprehensive and should I do it this way? Should I do it that? You just go for it. You're always going to get my blessing when you do that. So, because I just think it's the smartest way to learn. It's what I always did. Half the time I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I was in school in some of these classes. And I just put it out there and I remember in Vern Wilson's class, I can remember we were doing pastels. I never really had a real pastel class before. I mean, I messed around with them. I didn't know what I was doing. And I remember he was just looking at it, at my pastel, and I was looking at everybody else, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so off. I don't know, because I'm experimenting like crazy. And he told the whole class that's what you should be doing. And I was like, oh, really? I was like so happy.
There you go.
Oh, okay. But that's the lesson I learned from him, was that, you know, you've got to put it out there and experiment and try and be willing to fail. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very
And
true.
that's how you get the good stuff. You get some big, beautiful marks on there. And you will learn that pen. You'll learn how you like to use it. That's what matters the most. Because there is no correct way to use it. You do it your way. You use it.
Right.
Yeah. So this is cool. Cool. I think I can see a few little overlaps maybe of some roots here and there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, just a couple crossovers, things like that.
Right.
Small things. Okay.
John, the blue is very nice. The blue.
Yeah.
The color blue.
Yeah. Thank you.
What is it?
Yeah.
That's straight aquamarine, as straight as I could get it. Yeah.
Oh.
So you must have a really clean one.
Yeah, you know, I just replenished it on my palette, so it's fresh.
Now you're not using those dye, what do you call those? Those Dr. Martin dyes, are you?
No.
Okay.
No.
These are they can be really strong. Those colors.
These are I think Windsor Newtons, but I don't know. I got tubes right here.
Yeah, the Windsor.
Oh no, this is Holbein. These are Holbeins.
Yeah, I mean, Holbeins I like because they're creamier. I used to only use Windsor Newton, and now I pretty much mostly use Holbein. All right. Thank you, sir. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Quite nice. You have a very flowing line there.
Thank you. So Mary.
You know, it doesn't look
Probably.
stiff or anything. It looks pretty, it's got a lot of gesture to it. Like you can feel, in other words, you can feel this sort of S shape, you know? They say nothing
Ah.
as graceful as the letter S. So anyway, so you have a lot of nice flow in there. You get some nice little dry brush texture going on there. Some nice dark, thick marks and some really sensitive thin marks, grays, blacks. And was there any questions you had or any thoughts or?
Yeah, I think I enjoyed. Only thing I think in the beginning, put those all yellow dry brush. Need to be really careful. Sometimes just mix with all those trees. They all the same. Like mix so many branches and the roots going together.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the only thing.
Sometimes I
feel,
test it on another piece of paper first or something.
That's good. We did the study in the first place. I was in the first study. I was put all the yellow everywhere. So I realized, some area like really far away that should be empty. So that makes big difference. Yeah, I like those warm-up exercise.
Well, yeah. That's why we do them. They're worth it. They're worth taking the time to do. Yeah.
Yeah, agree with everyone. Happy to do more style like this, Japanese, whatever.
Definitely. We will. Okay. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you.
Beautiful work. Yours looks right away. I'm thinking of this. It sort of has an English look to it. I don't know why. It must be all these roots. They love roots. Have you ever heard of this artist named Arthur Ruth? I can't say. He's a great illustrator. I can't remember it. Arthur Ruth something? Rothman? No, I don't know what it is. I'm getting it all wrong. I'll think of it later. Yeah, beautiful. Very, very organic. You've got a rhythm. Look at the organic quality to this. Very organic. Look at this tree. You've painted a lot of trees.
I've struggled with a lot of trees. I don't know if I'll say I've painted a lot of trees.
I would love to have a class where we just go out and paint and draw tree roots. I mean, I could show you places where there's some awesome tree roots. I've got some great, I have like a lot of studies and sketchbooks for them. But.
South Pasadena Library.
Oh, really? I'm going to be there today. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, yeah. South. Yeah. Right. That fig tree. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The fig tree there. And then in Descanso, there's a ton of oak trees, but not a lot of root action.
Yeah. But I'm talking about in real nature and that have been eroded and everything where you can still see the rocks that they're grabbing onto. And
oh, yeah.
At Eden Canyon, you can see it because you're actually looking at the side of the earth.
Yes.
You're looking at this, the strata as it's coming down because you're seeing like maybe 8 feet high of just straight earth because you're down in a riverbed looking up to the side of it. It's really weird. But anyway.
Let's do it. Now that we can go out.
I know, huh?
Or gather.
At Eden Canyon.
But I have to say, Rob, I still love these Zoom classes. That's so great. Yeah. Don't ever give them up entirely, please.
I'm not. No, we were talking about that. I have a plein air class on Sundays, and they were asking me to do, when are you going to do more live classes? And I'm going, I'm having a lot of fun doing the Zoom classes, and I think I might just do more, and I might move.
Move?
Yeah, I might want to go somewhere where I can have a house and a big studio.
Right. What a thought. Yes.
Can't do that
and
here.
Paint.
It's impossible here. Yeah. Anyway. Any questions or comments? I think this is a wonderful, excellent looking drawing, excellent looking painting. Lots of rhythm. Looks like you really caught the flow nature in this.
I tried to figure out what he was thinking while he was doing it.
I know, huh? Can you feel him talking to you a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I that's what I think of when I say they're talking to me. I always think, what would my assessment based on what I'm looking at, they would probably say this to me or this to me, you know? So, but yeah. Well, it looks like you took his instruction very well.
Thank you.
I think so. Okay. Thank you, Gay. And we have Henry.
Hi, Rob.
You have another one too, right? Okay, the same one.
Yeah, I sent two earlier. I think probably I thought it was among the first few, but it didn't get to you, so I sent another one. This is a later photo, so I did retouch a little bit during your critique.
Wait, yeah, I only have this.
The right one. That's the right one. You got the right
Okay.
one. The
Yeah.
The early one didn't arrive. I didn't send out. I don't know why. I did twice from my phone. This one is from Gmail. That's probably. Anyway, so you got the right one. Thanks for selecting this one, because I was thinking to do the bridge.
I was too. I was thinking to do the bridge too, and we got so caught up into this one. I just thought, well, we're not gonna have time to do both. I didn't know if we were gonna do both or not.
I really enjoyed this. I won't do it on my own, though, because it's so daunting task. But you did it 3 times. I did only 1. You know, you did 3. That's amazing.
Well, I like how yours obviously shows all the hallmarks of Eastern painting, but what I like is that you're not. I think, you know, I'm probably trying to copy him too hard, because you're taking all of his teachings and using them, but like I'm like trying to get all the browns exactly right, and you're not holding to. And there was a time in the painting when I was just thinking, you know, you don't have to get every dang root in there perfect. You know, it's just capturing the mood and the feeling of it is the lesson. So
I think I should be freer. I did feel the same way as you did, because I followed exactly every route.
Yeah. Now, so did you feel like you would want to be more free on it?
When I saw other classmates did more freer, I really regret. I should be more free.
Now you're gonna do another one, huh?
Yeah, I usually my first copy is a very loyal copy to the master. It's kind of like you said. I try to get into his mindset.
I know that I'm probably gonna copy this again, probably today.
Yeah. Not today.
I try to do it when I'm kind of in the mood already. So.
Oh yeah. This one is on the notebook, you know, the hot press or mixed media paper.
Okay.
I think original was on rice paper, so there's a difference.
If you had to guess, how big do you think his painting was?
This one must be quite big, I think.
Yeah.
I guess it should be something like at least 18 by 24 or something.
Okay. How big does rice paper get?
Oh, okay. Rice paper, the 4 sheet is 57 by 27. So if it's half sheet, it would be 27 by 18.
Yeah.
But this one's a squarish, so it could be 18 by 18 or 27 by 27.
Yeah.
Or you know, some.
I think it's 27 by 27. Judging by how small some of those marks are.
Yeah, because 27 by 27 is a half sheet.
Yeah.
It's half sheet, right?
It might be a full sheet.
Right,
wow.
Right. It should be half sheet. Yeah.
I want to do a full sheet. That would be so liberating. Your wife
this is-
teaches that, right? With a big giant brush?
4 sheets is rectangular, so you have to use 2 combined. That would be 50,
Oh.
54 by 54 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
this
I
almost
really-
feels like calligraphy right over here, these roots. When I first saw it, I was looking at it, I was like, is he writing something? Oh, no, oh, it's just the roots. It just feels like calligraphic. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I was wondering if we should do the color in the sky, or I did wash a very pale yellow on the trunk.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
A little bit, just not completely, but to some.
I don't know.
think-
Did he have anything on the sky?
And that's what I would ask you. What would you do with the sky if you?
I thought maybe his sky was a light beige, but
Oh,
I don't know.
It could be
yeah.
just white, like California watercolorist would do, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Something kind of misty though, I think. So I don't know. All right. Thank you, Henry. And George. Ooh. Now, let's see. Are you using a pen on? Yeah, you're using a pen? Or is that?
Yes, I was just thinking about it. I used watercolor for the browns
Yeah.
and the green and the yellow and the red. But otherwise, it's all a tombow. And
Oh,
the
good.
gray is a tombow on its side lightly, sort
Yeah.
of like just rubbing it. And then I had a Faber-Castell sepia brush.
Huh.
And that's what all those dots are.
Okay. Cool.
What's a tombow?
A tombow is a pin with 2 ends, and it's like a felt tip. Rob, you can describe it better.
Yeah, I have one somewhere.
But Tombow is a brand
Here.
name.
Yeah. Can you, I don't
Yeah.
know, can you guys see mine?
Yeah, on the side.
Yeah, see it? It's a brush pen. So you can go like that. This is a
Okay.
light one, but yeah, gives you a very, and then the other side is a pen. So it's just a brand name. It's a brush pen. It's water soluble, so I don't think they make them permanent. But yeah, they're good. Yeah, and there's other brand names that make them too. Here's one that's made by the Faber-Castell. It's also
A brush.
a brush pen right there.
Yeah.
So
Now, the other end of my tombow, they're both felt ends. It's just a smaller tip. It's not really a pen, like a fine pen, like the Faber-Castell gets fine and medium,
yeah,
and this is felt also, I think, isn't it? At the other end of the tombow? Yeah.
yeah. They're both the same ink. They're both water soluble. This one I have is permanent. So if you wanted a permanent one, then I wish I could put more ink in it though. Man, it ran out of ink really fast.
Oh, and
Maybe
what is it?
I just used a lot. It's called it's a Faber-Castell, and it's the B.
B stands for brush.
Yeah, I guess it just means brush. So,
Yeah.
but nice looking line work.
I did a pencil
Oh.
drawing first. I
Right,
was
I can
thinking I
see.
should have just done it with the pen first, but
Yeah, because a lot of your pencils are just one stroke, so you might as well just done it with the pen.
right.
Very nice. Okay. Thank you, George.
Thank
Nice
you.
work. You are
Thank
welcome.
you.
All right. Thank you. And Mitsuko. Oh gosh. Are you on rice paper?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
Is,
Wow,
Rob,
wow,
is
wow.
this the first one or second one? Would you do
I
the
don't know.
second?
Did you do another one?
I sent it another one.
Oh, here's the second one.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. That is.
But it just, yeah,
Can
I did on the
can I
right.
take your class?
No
That is
way.
amazing.
No way. I just copied it this time. But if I do again, I will do bolder.
Wow. Boulder? Okay.
Bolder.
I'd like to see you do that boulder. You're pretty bold.
Like last night.
Yeah.
That way.
That sounds funny. For those of you that don't know the class last night.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, me and Mitsuko, we hang out sometimes, you know, there.
Right.
Yeah, look at this. Look at the way the torque on that trunk right there. It feels like it's wrapping around like a rope. Really rhythmic. Yeah, I'd say you've done this before. Did you grow up doing sumi or what? Sumi?
I'm sorry.
How long have you been doing sumi?
I did like 5 years, but I'm not doing now. But I had a Chinese teacher and then just copy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rob, may I make an announcement? With the city of Alhambra invited me to do a series of 8 sumi lessons on landscape painting next year in January. It's very reasonable cost. It's $85 for 10 lessons. I'm just doing it for my interest, you know, my mission to.
You're actually taking lessons, huh? Wow.
No, I'm teaching them.
You're teaching
through the city, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
So Alhambra is not very far from most of you guys, maybe.
So it's live, right? It's not on Zoom?
Live, yeah. It's a live lesson, in-person lesson next year. So if anybody wants to learn Chinese landscape painting, you're welcome.
You know, that's great. You know, I've seen him work this way before, and it's there's nothing like watching it live. Just to see those instant little decisions are just amazing. So
if you're in an in-person class, you have like a sixth sense to see those you won't see on the video lesson, right?
Yeah.
The breath, the smear of the ink.
Excellent. So you just register with the city of Alhambra?
Yeah,
Art
it will
Council?
be in the, you know, they have this catalog for adult lessons, the community school kind of catalog.
Community Art Center?
Yeah, I have an interview actually next week, but I think I shouldn't have any problem, right? So I'll pass you the information when.
Yeah, pass me the information and I'll just pass it on.
Yeah, it will be next year. Next.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you live in Alhambra, you have the priority to register. Otherwise, you have to wait. It's only like 24 seats or something like that. So
okay.
But I tried to convince them that I will broadcast those lessons or record it at least.
Okay. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, this is gorgeous. I wouldn't even know how to tell you. I wouldn't know how to critique this, except, you know, well, you're doing everything wrong. Okay, what you need to do first is, no, I'm just joking. No, but honestly, it's beautiful. I love. You said you're a bold. So a lot of these strokes they just look like you're 10 steps ahead of yourself. You're putting one down and you're doing this, and you're automatically going right over to here, and you're doing that. And, you know, it just looks very fluent to me. So.
Because I did those lines a lot in the past, you know, so it just like a finger does that.
Yeah, I'm kind of hung up on this tree right here. I love how the dry brushing and you know, a little opaque here, very, you see how she uses white whenever she needs it, everybody, you should always feel no
Yes, I
restraint in doing
use
that.
white. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
you should
to
feel no
highlight.
restraint in doing that at all. And I love these little, these Hector marks. They're very Hector-like. Hector should have been here today. Dang it. He would have loved this one.
Mystical, this is a mulberry paper?
It's a rice paper, Chinese rice paper.
Oh, Chinese rice paper. It looks
Yeah,
like mulberry.
very thin.
Mulberry, right? It's
It-
it's mulberry kind of.
It's not a I don't think it's a cheap one. I mean, so it's not a mulberry, right?
Oh, I see. It may be machine made.
Yeah, but I got it from the teachers. You know, in the as a regular paper, it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's pretty smooth. Okay,
Yeah. I'm gonna give me some more. I went through all that rice paper you gave me. So I'm gonna give me some more. I got hooked on it too. I like it. It's weird, you know, because it's so instant. You have to, there's no really going over. I mean,
That's something that
not too much.
You cannot change. It's absorbent paper, so that you have the leave the marks. You know, you have to make sure marks. In other words, there's no hesitation mark.
Yeah, when you get into that, when you when you stop hesitating and just go, that's when all the good stuff happens for you. Okay, thank you, Mitsuko.
All right, thank you.
You are welcome. Did I miss anyone? I do that all the time.
Yeah, you missed me.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's
Christine right there. Sorry. I jumped over you. Ooh, that's pretty.
Well, you know, I need that t-shirt you're going to make. I'm really not done yet.
I'm not done yet. Well, this is well, hey, you know, I think you got a really nice start here. I like all the white too. I personally like it.
I
It
tried
looks
to
very
do
contemporary.
I tried to do a little bit of everything at the end so that I tried some of the brown spaces. I tried some of the grass. But of course I concentrated on the tree and the roots.
Yeah, you're doing fine on the grass. And you see, the nice thing is you'll have the recording to look back on to see how everybody else did. I think there was just 20 different ways to do grass on there. So anyway, I think it's just fine. One thing I wanted to point out too was the way the artist uses white in his paintings. He makes great use of the white space. And your paintings reminding me of that, you know, I mean, many of his paintings have just lots of white. So white paper. So anyway, I think your drawing looks great. I think you're well on your way here. I mean, it's looking great.
Thanks. I used a Princeton 6 round brush because it had a nice tip and I could get those fine black lines with a number 6 round.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Especially if I use the Sumi. All the darkest stuff on there is Sumi ink, and then there's some black watercolor. All the rest is watercolor.
Yeah, I'm gonna give me some Sumi ink. I'm gonna give me some Sumi ink today. I need it. And I think your dashes of color are great. Right, your little dry brush marks, fine. Right, maybe a finer pen to do a lot of these little roots, and I would like look at the way a lot of these artists did it. They didn't have to do every little root, you know, all perfect. Just do the best you can, and not, you know, not get too caught up with details. You get some really nice line work on this, thick to thin here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You're on your way. Okay. Thank you, Christine.
There's one more.
Another,
My Halloween version.
Lisa, where are you? Are you at the very end?
Oh,
Oh, there you
right.
are.
It's Halloween.
Halloween.
Mhm.
So what do you mean? It's creepy?
Yeah, kind of creepy. I started out with black paint on a very fine tip pen and everything was looking good. And then I wasn't getting the orange, the brownish in, so I just turned it into something Halloween. That's all.
The blue trees.
The blue trees with the
How did they turn blue? Just curious.
Well, after I saw John's painting, because I was trying to get it exactly like the picture, and I'm like,
You're
what
still painting it at the time I was critiquing John's painting.
Yes, I was gonna not turn it in. I thought, you know what, just do it. It's fun, and that's what you said to do. So it's just have fun with it. I had fun with it.
Well, it looks like you're having fun. I mean, you're adventurous. You got a lot of rhythm in these roots. I like the rhythmic flow of them. Like a couple other people, I think I just take a few roots underneath and over. Just maybe underneath, I should say, because you already have the positive on there. You know, just have so you have something overlapping here and there.
Yeah. Okay.
And then just remove all the orange and all the blue, and you're fine. Okay. See you
Yeah,
later.
right. I know. Like start over.
I think it's fun. The Halloween, because the roots are very, what is it that makes us creeped out by roots? I guess they look like hands, huh?
Yeah.
So,
That's why I call it Halloween.
Halloween trees.
Halloween trees. You got it.
All right. I think it's pretty darn cool. I mean, if anything, maybe I would even try some really possibly some thicker line around the outside here and there.
Okay.
Maybe if you want, if you're itching to play with some line, maybe some thick to thin line. I think you have enough thin stuff, but I could see some thick.
Okay.
Some thick moves, around there, maybe in here or something, or what,
Sure. In blue still. Or
I
black?
think. Well, I mean, he is using black, but I mean, I'd say do it whatever way you want to, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the black will show up more though.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right. I might do pen. No, I don't know. I'll just have to see.
Yeah. Just
okay.
Maybe think about that with a new adventure.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you,
good
Rob.
week.
See you next
It'll be
week.
Halloween next week.
I know, huh?
Right. So I'm not gonna do trick-or-treaters after 7.
Wow. It came up quick.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.